If you are watching this, there is a very good chance you are exhausted. You are likely tired of walking on eggshells, tired of explaining yourself, and tired of feeling like no matter how much you give, it is never quite enough. You might be asking yourself why the woman in your life, whether she is a partner, a family member, or a colleague, treats you with such casual disregard. You may feel confused because, on the surface, things might look fine to the outside world. But behind closed doors, you feel small, unheard, and constantly criticized. It is a specific kind of loneliness to be in a relationship where your feelings are routinely dismissed, and your reality is constantly questioned. You have probably tried everything to fix it. You have tried being nicer, more patient, more understanding, and more accommodating. You have tried to communicate your needs clearly, hoping that if you just find the right words, she will finally see you and treat you with the basic respect you deserve. But instead of respect, you often get defensiveness, silence, or even more criticism. This cycle leaves you feeling drained and questioning your own sanity. I want you to take a deep breath right now and hear this clearly. You are not the problem. The confusion and pain you are feeling are not signs that you are failing at relationships. They are signs that you are interacting with someone who lacks the emotional capacity to offer genuine respect. What you are experiencing is not a failure of your effort. It is a structural imbalance in the dynamic. Today, we are going to look at why trying to earn respect from a narcissistic woman is a trap, and more importantly, how you can shift the dynamic by changing your own behavior, not to manipulate her, but to reclaim your dignity and peace. To understand how to handle this situation, we first need to understand what respect means to someone with narcissistic traits. For most healthy people, respect is a mutual exchange. It is based on empathy, shared values, and the recognition that another person has feelings and rights equal to our own. But for a woman with strong narcissistic tendencies, respect is not about mutual regard. It is about hierarchy. In her mind, respect is something you owe her because of who she is, or what she provides, or simply because she demands it. It is not earned through kindness. It is extracted through control. When you try to ask for respect by pleading your case or showing vulnerability, you are speaking a language she does not value. In fact, in the narcissistic framework, vulnerability is often seen as weakness. When you expose your hurt, you are not inviting compassion. You are handing her ammunition. This is why your attempts to connect emotionally often backfire. She does not view your pain as a signal to stop. She views it as a signal that she has power over you. This is a hard truth to accept, especially if you are a naturally empathetic person. You believe that if you show her how much she hurts you, she will care. But the psychology of narcissism works differently. Her primary drive is not connection. It is regulation of her own self-esteem and maintenance of control. Therefore, the only way to change how she treats you is to stop playing by the rules of her game and start enforcing the boundaries of your own reality. The first step in this shift is understanding the concept of supply. Narcissistic individuals require a constant stream of attention, validation, and emotional reaction to maintain their sense of self. This is called narcissistic supply. It does not matter if this supply is positive or negative. Praise, admiration, and love are positive supply. Anger, tears, frustration, and desperate attempts to explain yourself are negative supply. Both feed the ego. When you argue with her, when you cry in front of her, or when you beg her to understand your point of view, you are giving her supply. You are proving that she matters enough to disrupt your emotional state. As long as you are reacting emotionally, she holds the power. She knows that she can push a button and get a response. This response confirms her importance. So, the first major change you must make is to starve the dynamic of emotional reactivity. This does not mean you become cold or cruel. It means you become uninteresting to her manipulative tactics. You become calm, consistent, and detached. This is often referred to as the gray rock method, but it is deeper than just acting bored. It is about internally decoupling your self-worth from her opinion of you. When she insults you, instead of defending yourself, you simply acknowledge the statement without accepting the judgment. You might say, "I hear that you are upset," or "That is your perspective." And then you disengage. You do not justify, you do not argue, and you do not explain. By removing the emotional fuel, you remove the reward for her disrespectful behavior. This leads us to the second critical component: the enforcement of boundaries through action, not words. Many people make the mistake of thinking that if they just explain their boundary clearly enough, the other person will respect it. They say, "Please do not speak to me that way," or "I need you to listen when I am talking." But for a narcissistic woman, words are merely suggestions. If there is no consequence for ignoring the boundary does not exist. In fact, stating a boundary without enforcing it often invites more disrespect because it shows that you are all talk and no action. True boundaries are not requests. They are statements of what you will do. You cannot control her behavior, but you can control your exposure to it. For example, if she begins to yell or insult you, you do not stand there and take it, nor do you yell back. You calmly state, "I am not willing to continue this conversation while you are yelling. I am going to leave the room now." And then you must actually leave. You go to another room, you go for a walk, or you end the phone call. You do not wait for her permission. You do not wait for her to apologize. You simply remove your presence. This sends a powerful message. It shows that access to you is a privilege, not a right. It demonstrates that you respect yourself enough to walk away from mistreatment. Initially, this will likely cause an escalation. She may become angrier, more dramatic, or even more charming in an attempt to pull you back in. This is known as an extinction burst. It is the final attempt to regain control before the old pattern dies. You must hold firm during this phase. If you give in, you teach her that persistence pays off. If you stay consistent, you teach her that disrespect results in loss of access. It is important to address the guilt that will arise when you start doing this. You have likely been conditioned to believe that setting boundaries is selfish or mean. You may feel that you are abandoning her or being uncaring. This guilt is a tool of manipulation. It has been installed in you to keep you compliant. You must recognize that protecting your mental health is not an act of aggression. It is an act of survival. You are not responsible for managing her emotions. If she becomes angry because you set a boundary, that is her emotion to manage, not yours. If she feels neglected because you are no longer available to soothe her ego at the expense of your own well-being, that is her issue to resolve. By taking responsibility for her feelings, you enable her immaturity. By stepping back, you force her to face the consequences of her own behavior. This is not about punishing her. It is about stopping the enabling cycle. Over time, this shift changes the dynamic. She may not change her personality, but she will change how she treats you, because the cost of disrespecting you has become too high. She learns that if she wants your attention, she must engage with you respectfully. If she chooses not to, she loses your presence. This is the only language that translates across the narcissistic divide. Another key aspect of gaining respect is stopping the over-explanation. In healthy relationships, we explain our decisions to foster understanding and intimacy. In narcissistic dynamics, explanation is viewed as weakness or an invitation to debate. When you explain why you can't do something or why you feel a certain way, you are handing her the raw material to twist your words. She will pick apart your logic, find contradictions, and use your own words against you. This is called word salading or circular arguing. To break this, you must become comfortable with brevity. Your no does not need a justification. Your feelings do not need a defense. If you decide not to attend an event, you simply say, "I won't be able to make it." If she presses for a reason, you repeat, "It doesn't work for me." You do not offer excuses. Excuses can be debated, decisions cannot. When you stop explaining, you reclaim your autonomy. You signal that your choices are valid simply because they are yours. This can feel terrifying at first because we are taught that we must be reasonable and fair to be loved. But with a narcissistic woman, being reasonable is often used as a trap. She will demand fairness from you while offering none in return. By refusing to engage in the debate, you step out of the trap. You remain neutral, polite, but firm. This neutrality is disarming. It denies her the conflict she craves. Without the conflict, she cannot paint you as the villain. She cannot claim you are attacking her if you are simply stating your position and moving on. As you implement these changes, you will notice a shift in your own internal state. You will begin to feel a sense of clarity that was previously clouded by chaos. You will stop waking up with anxiety about what mood she will be in. You will stop rehearsing conversations in your head. This is because you are no longer investing your energy in trying to control the uncontrollable. You are focusing on what you can control: your reactions, your boundaries, and your self-respect. This process is not about making her love you or even like you. It is about making her respect the structure of your life. Respect, in this context, is not an emotion. It is a behavioral adjustment. She may never truly empathize with you. She may never understand your pain. But she will learn to navigate around your boundaries, because it is in her best interest to maintain access to you. And if she chooses not to, if she decides that your boundaries are too restrictive for her comfort, then she may discard you. This is a possibility you must prepare for. But consider this. If the price of keeping her in your life is the loss of your self-respect, is it a price worth paying? Often, the fear of losing the relationship keeps us trapped in abuse. But the truth is, you have already lost the relationship you thought you had. You were in a relationship with a fantasy, a potential version of her that never existed. The real woman is the one who disrespects you. Accepting this reality is painful, but it is also liberating. It frees you from the hope that keeps you stuck. Healing from this dynamic requires a significant amount of inner work. You have to rebuild the parts of yourself that were eroded. You have to relearn trust in your own perception. Gaslighting makes you doubt your memory and your sanity. To counter this, keep a journal. Write down what happened, not to show her, but to anchor yourself in reality. When she denies saying something hurtful, you can look at your notes and know the truth. This practice strengthens your cognitive independence. It reminds you that your reality is valid, regardless of her denial. Surround yourself with supportive people who validate your experiences. Isolation is a key tactic of narcissistic control. By reconnecting with friends, family, or support groups, you break the isolation. You remind yourself that there are other ways to relate to people, ways that involve mutual respect and care. These healthy interactions serve as a contrast to the toxicity you are leaving behind. They show you what is possible. They remind you that you are worthy of love that does not come with conditions or cruelty. Ultimately, the goal is not to win against her. The goal is to win back yourself. When you stop seeking her approval, you become free. You realize that her opinion of you is a reflection of her internal state, not your actual worth. A person who respects themselves does not need to degrade others to feel tall. A person who is secure does not need to control others to feel safe. Her behavior is a symptom of her own deep-seated insecurity and emptiness. Understanding this does not mean you forgive the abuse, but it helps you detach personally. You stop taking it personally because you realize it was never about you. You were just a character in her script, a source of supply, a mirror for her ego. Now, you are writing your own script. You are deciding who gets access to your energy. You are deciding what behavior you will tolerate. This is the essence of self-respect. It is not loud or aggressive. It is quiet and steady. It is the calm certainty that you matter. As you move forward, remember that healing is not linear. There will be days when you slip back into old patterns. There will be moments when you feel the urge to explain, to defend, to fix. Be gentle with yourself. These are habits formed over years. Changing them takes time and practice. Each time you choose detachment over reaction, each time you enforce a boundary without apology, you are rewiring your brain. You are building a new neural pathway of self-preservation. You are teaching yourself that you are safe, that you are capable, and that you are enough. You do not need to prove this to her. You only need to know it for yourself. The respect you seek from her is actually the respect you must give to yourself. Once you embody that respect, the dynamic shifts. Whether she stays or goes, whether she changes or remains the same, you will be okay. Because you are no longer dependent on her validation to feel whole. You have found your center. You have found your peace. And that is a power that no one can take away from you. Take this knowledge and use it wisely. Do not rush. Do not force outcomes. Simply focus on your own integrity. Speak your truth calmly. Act in alignment with your values. Protect your energy fiercely. In doing so, you not only heal from the past, but you also create a future where respect is the baseline, not the exception. You deserve a life where you are heard, valued, and treated with kindness. That life begins with the decision to stop accepting less. It begins with the quiet, firm assertion of your own worth. You are not broken. You are waking up. And as you wake up, the fog clears. You see things as they are, and in that clarity, you find your strength. Keep going. You are closer to freedom than you think.